The Senate trial for Donald Trump is set to begin in around a week, and I am starting to wonder what some prominent Republicans think a trial actually is, because some of the things they're warning us against sound like the very point of having this at all. So here is Lindsey Graham, who apparently doesn't want witnesses. He doesn't want nothing going on this trial. Here he is.
Well, we've only got a couple of seconds, but let me ask you, do you anticipate witnesses being called and then being cross-examined?
I hope not. They didn't call any in the House. I think we know what happened that day. But if you open up that can of worms, we'll want the FBI to come in and tell us about how people actually pre-planned these attacks and what happened with the security footprint at the Capitol. You open up Pandora's box if you call one witness. I hope we don't call any and we vote and get this trial over next week when it starts.
Just really fast, in case people aren't sure, he doesn't mean that Trump's guilt is so obvious that we don't need to go through a big thing. We can just vote to convict him. He doesn't want there to be any consequences. So it's not just an expedited trial. He doesn't want anything to happen. He just wants to move on, forget it happened. And in the future, if you want to call for some sort of violent insurrection, you will be pretty assured that there will be no consequences for you if it fails. So I have more thoughts about that, but Viviana, what did you think about the, let's just get it done in one day, no witnesses, nothing?
I'm glad you broke that down for me because I wasn't quite sure what side of the fence Lindsey Graham was on today. He seems to be blown left and right, whichever the wind is blowing, he decides he wants to go. This guy is so spineless, like, when is he out of office, honestly? Because this guy does not need to be representing anybody. He has no backbone at all. Of course they don't want a trial, but guess what? He was scared when people were shouting at him in the airport. He was a little bit frightened. Matt, those are the same people, my friend. Don't you want to see those people accountable for what they did? Don't you want to make sure that they don't do it again? Frankly, I think a lot of them do need mental health help. Many of their legal cases are based on the fact that they are crazy. That's what their own attorneys are saying. And I do think that a lot of these people who were there at the Capitol have violent tendencies. I mean, we've seen some of these guys in the very beginning that breached that first, I don't even want to say they breached it. Essentially, the cops were like, okay, let them in. But they were violent. You could feel it. You could just in the video. Can you even imagine in person? When we've seen more and more of these things come forward, I'm not surprised that they don't want to have witnesses because stuff is scary and people are gonna start telling stories like AOC. It's gonna really get real. And a lot of the people that were there on the floor, they did see a lot of stuff firsthand. So you don't need a lot of witnesses. But we do want to hear from the FBI. We do want to hear what was planned before. There are a lot of people that orchestrated this event. Let us not forget that Trump, who never misses his own party, left his own party to be in DC on January 6th to watch this melee happen in real time. Yeah, they knew it was happening.
Like, I get that you don't want witnesses, Lindsey Graham. I get that, but you're gonna have to come up with a better argument for why we shouldn't have witnesses. Like, you could be honest and say it's gonna make us look really, really bad. But you saying, now, come on, if we have witnesses, it's gonna open up Pandora's box. And I define Pandora's box as bringing in the FBI to like talk about how it was planned and the security footprint. I think the expression is don't threaten me with a good time. Yeah, no, that's what we want. That's the entire thing that we want. We want to know what went into the planning. We want to know why no one was actually there. These are very important questions we need answered. And you think that's like the dark consequence of this impeachment trial, that we might find out more about it? He doesn't care about that and he doesn't want to know. Even though he was, again, one of those who theoretically could have been targeted for not being sufficiently loyal to the president. Yeah, no, I want that. I want the witnesses. I want to find out exactly what was going on. That's kind of the entire point. But Lindsey Graham's a senator, like who am I to teach him what the purpose of an impeachment trial is?
You have a lot more knowledge than him, I can guarantee you on that. But who I was really disappointed in was James Comey, because he was one that also said that he did not think there should be a trial. And I don't really understand his logic. And I'm gonna go with Comey instead of Graham because I just think Graham's a complete moron and there's no point in even trying to make sense because this guy tomorrow will be something else. But Comey knows how dangerous Trump was. really warned everybody. Now this has happened and then still doesn't want a trial because he doesn't think that it's good for the American people. How is not having a trial good for the American people? How is sweeping this under the rug good for American people? I mean, I just don't, what do you think his basis is for that sort of thinking?
I think it's really inconvenient for them. I think that he has spent the last 4 years after he flipped from, like being vigorously opposed to Donald Trump to, oh wait, that's my future career on the line, I guess I love him now. He's just been defending him. He's been running interference for him for 4 years, and he's gonna keep doing that because he thinks that he needs to. And he's not even 100% wrong. If he were to demand an investigation and consequences, Trump would turn on him, and that probably would be a primary for him the next time. And so I can have a little bit of empathy that I understand the situation, but I also get what you're doing. And what you're doing is protecting the person who inspired a fascist attempted takeover of the government. So you kind of become my enemy at that point.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.